But then you watch a game like tonight and LeBron kicked his ass. He's not ready to be a top 15 guy. But he really, really, really gives a shit about every game. It's great. I love it. Like, this is a long, sustained offensive excellence that when you watch it feels legitimate. We're not going to be nice. What do we care? We're just these, let's call it what it is. Oh, Mike.
Oh, Mike. Oh, Mike. Justin Herbert is throwing such rockets. I thought Elon Musk was living inside his bicep. I really did.
Mike, I got no fluids left in my body. I got no fluids left, Mike.
Mike, if they show those commercials with someone making dirty tacos again, I don't know what I'm gonna do outside SoFi.
I don't know what quarterback I like more, Mike. Yeah, Mike. What a game. Chargers, Bengals.
Wow.
I tweeted this with like 2 minutes left. We've seen that exact Chargers game before. We've seen that exact Bengals game before. We're taping this at 9:00. The game just ended. And it was just who's going to do what they do better? Are the Bengals just going to blow a completely winnable game and kick themselves after? Or are the Chargers just going to have a massive choke in a game that seemed over at halftime? And I really didn't know until McPherson lined up for 51. I was like, he's not making this. It's not going. It's not going in. But then Justin Herbert, much maligned, not a lot of clutch moments for Justin. Made some big throws, won the game.
And he's lucky too, because you texted you like, I'm gonna torch this mother effer if he loses this game, something like that.
I'm Chargers minus 1.5. I was able to fucking get it.
But no, I went through my Justin Herbert progression too as a fan. You know how quarterbacks go through their progression: tight end, slant, curl. Okay, I'll throw the screen. Yeah. I went through the whole thing like, oh my God, look how great he is in the first. How did anyone ever compare him to Tua? He's the best. This is ridiculous. Yeah. They're going to upset somebody in the playoffs too. What the hell is he doing? How does he throw 7 incomplete passes in a row? He's crushing us. He's overthrowing McConkey, and now he's back to being great, I guess.
Well, huge fumble.
Yeah.
When he was really running around like he used to a couple years ago and enjoying the studio space. And then he had that fumble. When he fumbled, for anyone who says that momentum doesn't matter in a football game, that fumble was like, oh no, here we go. I mean, this game had 5 momentum swings as it was going, but so he had that fumble and then just sailed it over McConkey's head, who was wide open. But then he made up for it on that last drive with some big plays. Is that a better win for the Chargers or a worse loss for the Bengals? I'm actually leaning toward worse loss, right?
They're all like this.
They're 4-7 now. The Bengals.
I know they're done. Like,
but they're not done. They're the AFC. They're not done.
Yeah, I know, but every game's like this, right? It's like you know what? They're just like a great sparring partner. That's basically what they are at this point.
Oh, I like this. Bengals. They're like Razor Reddick.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're going to give you their all, and they're going to come up short, or they're going to win. And but they can't put together 3 games in a row. I don't think where they win. I haven't really scoured their schedule, but I guess I'll take a look here. What is it going to be?
I'll do it right now.
Oh, they're going to get tripped up somewhere.
The question is whether it's 10 wins or 9, because right now they're somehow 4-7, where they have terrible loss this week, tail end of the game. Baltimore week 10, terrible. Baltimore week 5, terrible. Washington week 3, KC week 2. They've had basically 5 either or games, and they lost. They're 0 for 5 in the either or games. But
they have to sweep the Steelers as
bye week next week. 2 with the Steelers left. They have at Dallas, at Tennessee, home Cleveland, and home Denver week 17.
Well, that's it probably, right?
So they could get to 9. I don't see 10. Well, 10 means they run the slate the rest of the way.
So the Broncos would be the 7, right? That's the one we're eyeing for the 7 seed. So that might be for the 7 seed, but I don't know. Are they really going to beat the Cowboys? Of course they are.
AFC playoff picture. Yeah, they're 4-7. Miami's 4-6. Indy's 5-6. Denver's 6-5. Chargers are now 7-3. Yeah, it's going to be that Denver, Indy, Cincy, Miami. One of those 4 is going, and Cincy is the best team out of those 4. It's not close.
It's crazy how good they are. Like, how is this team not going to be in the top 7 in that conference? And then I think, like, I look at it from a fan's perspective, like, oh, we got to get him in as a football fan. But then I also look like, oh, I want a shitty team as a 7 seed I could bet against, right? And this wouldn't be them. Denver might be at some point.
Hench is already locked down Pittsburgh 2 seed, Denver 7 seed as the Shakey's Saturday first playoff game of round one game.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. Russell Wilson, Bo Nix, Sean
Yeah.
Payton, Mike Tomlin. I don't know if they'll be able to top that for the Shakey's game.
Didn't the AFC South sign like a 12-year deal with Shakey's? Like they're in until 2038 or
like
something.
Notre Dame with NBC.
Yeah. Whoever wins AFC South and hosts at 4 or 5.
So that would have to be Tampa, like Washington or Tampa, Arizona. I guess
no
Tampa, Arizona would be tough to
AFC
beat.
South. I was thinking AFC South. I was thinking
Oh.
Houston and
I
don't
thought
know. Yeah, no. Who would be the 5? Houston, Baltimore, I guess.
Houston's going to be
right
a 3 seed, probably,
now.
right?
Are they?
Yeah. No, 4 seed. Oh yeah, you're right. Buffalo, Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
KC. Yeah, Houston's the 4 seed.
Yeah.
So it could be Houston. So
Baltimore?
Houston Chargers or Pittsburgh, Denver for Shakey's.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
That's fine.
This was the day we talked about the kicking was too good. What are we going to do? Should we move the uprights closer? And then today happened where it's just kickers all over the place, just murdering teams, including McPherson in this game. With 2 long ones where a couple years ago it looked like he was Justin Tucker in waiting. Yeah. And then today
he still looks like Justin Tucker. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not why they
except the new version.
Yeah. Now he looks like Justin Tucker right now.
Yeah.
But that's not why they lost. They lost because they fell behind 24-6 and dug too big of a hole for themselves. It's funny though, when you watch them, when Higgins is playing and he's missed like 4.5 games and they have Chase on one side and Higgins on the other side. It really is one. And Chase Brown, who I think has been really good this season. And you watch and you go, man, how do you stop these guys? It just feels like it's 8 yards to the side anytime they want. They can go deep. Even when they miss the deep throws, they like just miss them. And I don't know. They just seem like one of the best 5 offenses to me. I don't get it.
And then the Chargers did too, though, right? And then I don't know. Look, I'd suck as a coach, but you and I were like, why aren't they running the ball? Well, run the ball a little bit. Herbert obviously doesn't have it for this 20-minute segment of the game. And give it to Dobbins, who's like the fastest guy in Southern California, and see what happens, you know? And we saw.
Yeah, so Dobbins was 11 for 56 and Edwards was 6 for 27. And then Herbert ran 5 for 65. But yeah, both of those guys, Dobbins and Edwards, were 4.5 a carry. Dobbins ripped off that last one for the winner, but I was thinking the same thing because as I know the receivers have overachieved for the Chargers, but it's still Will Disley, it's still rookie McConkey, it's still Quentin Johnston, it's still Josh Palmer at a huge drop on the second last drive. I mean, one of the weird things, the Chargers were like dying to give this game away. They got the ball back with 1:45 left after the missed field goal. And you have to run on first down to kill some clock. And they don't. They just threw it 3 straight times. They gave the ball back in like 13 seconds to the Bengals, and then the Bengals couldn't do anything either. But some of the clock management was bad. I usually think Harbaugh's pretty good at this stuff. Zach Taylor is not. I usually have confidence he's going to do the wrong thing. And now we're going to lose middle seat Doug tomorrow. And Zach Taylor is going to move up the what the fuck are you doing rankings, I think.
Interesting. He's got to keep middle seat Doug in a job there. Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's done, right? That's done. I don't know where you want to jump around to, but that game. But
yeah, I have a spot for them. We'll get to them later. Do we?
Yeah.
So best Collinsworth moments. He had that one where Burrow scrambled out and like did the Houdini thing and then hit somebody, and Tirico finished his whole play-by-play for another 8 seconds, and Collinsworth can just hold the laugh now. It's almost like Richard. Who is the tantric sex guy? Sting.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, it's almost like how tantric sex people can hold the orgasm. Collinsworth can just hold it. Tirico finishes, and then there's Mike, Joe Burrow just made the greatest play I've ever seen. That's the greatest play I've ever seen, Mike. That's a spectacular play. Spectacular.
Yeah. He's good. I hate to brag on him because I really enjoy it.
No, I love Collinsworth.
We have to. We have to
all
do
out
it.
of love. We love Collinsworth.
Yeah, we love you, Chris. Yeah.
And by the way, speaking of announcers that we've had fun with, I've had more fun than you, but I thought Romo was really good today too.
Excellent.
Like he has stepped it out. He had a couple rocky years there, but I thought he was excellent today. We had good announcers today.
Just a lot of little things that people don't appreciate. But like when Mahomes went to the line of scrimmage and was like definitely not going to draw them off sides, and he's like, he's overacting. When a quarterback overacts, they're letting the clock run out. They're not going to run. It's like, yeah, you're right. Why didn't we pick that up? Yeah.
So big picture with this Chargers team, because I think they needed one of these.
Mhm.
feeling good about themselves. They're only giving up 13 points a game. Like, how good is this team? They kind of needed a nut crunch game, and they got it. That's for damn sure. But big picture, they're not going to catch the Chiefs. They're in the hunt for the 5 seed. And I think
Yeah,
you want the 5 seed this year because you get to go to at Houston
sure.
in round one, which is I think way more palatable than going to Buffalo or, you know, going to Pittsburgh/Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I think they can get to the 5 seed, right? Did you see anything today that made you worried about them other than the fact
Well,
that they almost choked away an 18-point lead?
so you would say, well, they would get there. Wouldn't you think it's either Pittsburgh or Baltimore in the 5?
I don't
Like
know.
whoever loses
They have
that.
the same record
I
as
guess they have the
Baltimore
same
now.
record. They both have
Yeah.
They have 4. Baltimore's
No,
4.
the
4 losses.
Baltimore's 8-3.
Oh, eight
Chargers
and
are
3. Yeah.
7-3.
Yep. 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 Yeah. Okay.
And I think
All right.
Baltimore has a harder schedule down the stretch.
Yeah. It's all a mess there. I agree. And yeah, they're going to go on the road. But the biggest takeaway here is they had fans. They had
We
fans
said
there.
last week we were like, well, here's the one game where they're not going to have fans. That was about as loud of a fan base as we've had in LA, right?
Yeah. I feel like we should, there's no way to quantify it, right? But I feel like their approval rating goes up each week at
I
home.
was impressed.
Yeah.
Well, I was impressed by the Bengals that they had that many fans. I don't really fully understand it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
But yeah, the Chargers.
They're
Yeah,
coming
you're
there
right.
to see Harbaugh.
But it's for the Chargers. It's kind of good to you almost feel like you're tested because it really did feel like the crowd was loud in the second half.
Definitely.
I like this Chargers team. Khalil Mack didn't play today. I like that they can run the ball, and I think that's what they'll probably learn from big picture is maybe run the ball more. If I'm the Bengals, I don't know how Zach Taylor survives the season. Could be another job that's open. And I was thinking, like, it's a pretty interesting Belichick job. He's going to
Oh, you
get
would
one of
take
these
that one.
jobs, right? It's an interesting
Right.
Belichick job. It's a really interesting Vrabel job, but Steelers are 8-2. The Ravens are 7-4. I fucked up. So the Chargers have a
they
better
4
record
losses.
than
That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah,
But
well,
yeah,
he did Cleveland,
this
right?
one
He did Cleveland before Belichick, right? So he
yeah,
could
he
do
can't.
Cincinnati.
He's not going back to Cleveland.
No,
Yeah,
no, I'm just saying he could do. He loves Ohio, clearly. No, I think this is definitely the best spot for him, but it's not. I don't know. It's not the offense. It doesn't really matter, right? Like get rid of Lou Anarumo, who I don't know. It's been
or
inconsistent
keep
for
him.
years now. Yeah, don't know what
I'm
that
just saying,
defense
if you're
is.
going for wins, if you're Belichick, if you're one of the reasons you're coming
Sure.
back is to break the record,
No doubt.
Burrow is the best quarterback available because otherwise you're looking at Trevor Lawrence. You're
Yep.
looking at whatever the Giants do. You're looking at whoever the hell the Raiders QB is going to be. So the big game of the day. This was an awesome football day. I would say this was the best start to finish day we had, right?
For sure, for sure. And it gets bad. It gets a little lean next week. But yeah, I love this. There were like 6 good matchups, I thought.
What was great was no London game,
Mhm.
no Germany game. So we just were able to start off hot with some really good games. But then Bills Chiefs became the best game of the day.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, because the Bills pulled it out and it was a really good win for them. I think beating KC is it the most impressive thing you could do in a regular season in any sport right now, where the fans are the most excited? Like, we beat blank. They have to be the Mountain, right?
I think so. I mean, it's so exciting. I read, I don't know if this is true, like fans were jumping on through tables, like before the game, even before it even
What?
started. Outside, yes, in the
Oh my
parking lot,
God.
this was happening. Yeah, but the problem is they beat them in the regular season before, right? Last year, or maybe even like twice, and then they Kansas City's just got that try it in January chip, but it's going to be a lot easier if they get the 1 seed, and this brings them closer.
I think it's a little more special because it was their first loss and it's week 11.
Sure.
You hang that one on. But I did write down, and I was texting with a Chiefs fan who predicted this early in the first quarter. Not Nick Wright, another Chiefs fan.
Okay.
Little Milton Berle-ish performance from the Chiefs today. Obviously, they want to win. They're trying to win. But I don't feel like they brought out the kitchen sink. Like Kelsey was 2 catches, 8 yards. Right. They really was trying to get Worthy involved to see what they have with him. They're trying to get Hopkins involved, trying to run the ball a little bit. But for the most part, like there's another gear for these guys, and the gear is Kelsey. And it's not like the Bills were like, we've taken out Travis Kelsey. there's games where they put him in the garage, and we've talked about it the last couple years where it's clearly a Travis is in the garage game. This was a
Right.
Travis is in the garage game.
Yeah.
I think if
I,
this is in January, he has 8 catches for 80 yards and a bunch of first downs.
I was looking at the box score, and you're probably right because it really doesn't make sense. Because I look at it, aside from Allen, they had 49 yards rushing, right? And they
Yeah.
still won time of possession by 8 minutes. And the defense was very good. They allowed like 260 the whole game. So I don't know what to make of the Chiefs. I was waiting for like a bad call towards the end there, but that was a ballsy call by McDermott. Like they likely lose the game if they go up 5 and kick a field goal on the 4th and 2. They went for it or even more. I
Fourth
think it
and
was 4th and
two,
2.
they're
Yeah.
up 2. It's a little long for a field goal, and I don't think anyone watching the game or in the building thought Tyler Bass was making that field goal.
No.
So they go for it. And it turns out to be like a signature awesome Josh Allen play. But, we make fun of coaches all the time. I thought it was clearly you got to go for it. Romo thought the same thing.
Yep.
And then you just that's what Romo said, I think, before the play. Like, you got to put this in Josh's hands.
Mhm.
You have to let Josh decide the game, which is what they did. And he ends up coming up with a signature play. But it was a tough one for everyone who had the Chiefs in a tease.
I was going to say, he didn't have to beat him by 9.
It
right?
was just brutal. I had multiple teases in real life and $1 million picks. Shil Kapadia, our guy, tweeted after the game, 124 Mahomes games. How many times has he lost by more than 8 points?
I know it was 19 before the last loss by
No,
right. Okay.
more
No,
than
no,
8.
no. More than 8?
More than 8 points.
15.
5.
Jesus. Wow.
That made me
Not
feel worse about my 2
not even
teases.
early.
I had them with
Wow.
Pittsburgh. I had them with Denver. Detroit minus 2.5. Like, I was just like, God.
And we needed, of course, I had it too, but like 30-24 will be all right. KC needs
Yeah.
2 scores. It'll be a soft Buffalo defense, right? They'll come down, they'll kick a field goal. I don't know who was kick, Butker sat out, which is such a girly thing to do. Good thing he's super secure, but I don't know I thought we were going to cut it to 6 and we were going to be all right, but we didn't get there.
Well, you know what happened? This
What
is
happened?
how you really know the game didn't matter for the Chiefs. Mahomes had that huge scramble to the 30 when they were down 9, where they could have either tried to go for a TD or kick field goal, called back,
Right.
flag on the play,
Mhm.
holding on the Chiefs. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. They
Wow,
really
they
don't
called
want
a
him to win.
penalty on the Chiefs in a crunch time moment and pulled back a Mahomes play. We've made fucking history. And then
Yeah.
Chiefs fans get mad when you bring this up, but it's just a fact. Those things never get called for them ever. But for some reason that one got called. And that was it for
Listen,
our
both
teams.
things could be true. They're a great team.
Great team
A
that gets crazy
dynasty
calls.
potentially, and they get calls at the end. Yeah.
I mean,
But-
their whole dynasty started out with the D Ford penalty where they lose to the Pats. And then
that was against
since
them.
then
Yeah.
that was against them. And since
Right.
then they've had some good ones. But Buffalo, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, 19 carries for 49 yards.
Yeah.
I thought big picture, I said this last week to you, and it's a weird point to make. Good loss for the Chiefs, as weird as that sounds. Like, get that undefeated thing over with. Now you don't have to worry about it. Just get through it. You don't have the pressure of it. I still feel like that 07 Pats, which I wanted them to go undefeated. I'm not saying I would take that back. That was so much fun. I love that season. But they're
Right.
better off if Baltimore beats them in that Monday night game. The whole season's different in a good way, and I think they probably win the Super Bowl if they lose that game. So for the Chiefs, it's fine.
Yeah.
They're going to go 15-2, 14-3, whatever it is. They're going to win the AFC.
You just don't
and
want
it's
to
not
lose
gonna
that
matter.
1 seed, right? Like, where do you
Yeah.
think the 1 seed is more important, in the AFC or the NFC? I kind of think the AFC.
Well,
Bills
I think in the
definitely wanna be on.
NFC, it's almost a wrap at this point with Detroit's
Yeah.
schedule. I think they'd have to have like 5 more injuries.
Right.
I don't think it matters that much to the Chiefs because it feels like they could just go and win anywhere, right?
They
I
did
think
it
it would
last
matter
year.
more for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh got it. Like when you think like how kind of crummy Russ was today, and they,
Oh, yeah.
we're still able to pull one out. I kind of feel like home field is mandatory. Not even positive. We'll talk about that game later. I'm not even positive what they do for the quarterback situation going forward because Russ was not great, but Fields comes in.
Keeps winning. Yeah.
Fields comes in and slides a yard before the marker in a game that would end it. Additional thoughts out of this. So are the Lions officially the best team now? I think they are, right?
Well, according
Regular
to
season?
FanDuel and the odds makers, this is the first, not only the first time this year, the first time ever they're favored to win the Super Bowl.
Is that true?
That is true. I wouldn't make something up
Was
like
that
that.
was that one of our FanDuel people told us that?
No, I'm just looking at. Oh no, I saw it. I saw multiple people reported it on Twitter, but they're plus 420.
Wow.
KC plus 500. Ravens plus 650. Bills 7-1.
We had
First time
some
ever. They've been playing for 309 years.
we have not a small amount of Lions futures
No, right.
with the 1 seed, with the NFC North, with the
Best
conference,
record.
Super
Yep.
Bowl matchup, best record. So the better they do with that. Yeah. So Detroit's plus 420. KC is 5-1. Baltimore plus 950 on FanDuel or 650.
No, 650. Yeah.
650. Buffalo 7-1. Eagles 9-1. And then the Niners are the 6th team right now,
That's so
14-1. I
crazy.
don't
They're
understand that at all.
They're not even favored to win the division, but they're
Yeah. I don't get that.
14-1.
Plus, when you watch them, they're not passing the eye test either. So who's the MVP favorite then? Because we'll get to Lamar after the break, but it wasn't like Lamar was lighting it on fire. So Josh Allen now the MVP favorite, plus 150. Lamar's 2-1 because he sucked today.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't suck. He didn't suck. Tucker missed 2 field goals. Lamar was fine. He didn't suck. Stop it. He didn't suck.
We were talking about January. Lamar is back. I asked you, like, I was like, do you think like at halftime the players have wished him a happy new year? Because it's January all over again for that guy.
Like, is White Lotus starting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was January and Lamar was in rare form. Mahomes is 12-1 to win the MVP at this point. Justin Herbert at 25-1. Not interesting. If like they ran the slate, I'm just thinking for like long shot bets. But
gotta be a top 2 seed, which is why I think like Jared Goff, he had that pitiful performance last week. But I think he went out and said, "Hey, I got 5 interceptions last week. Can you get me 14 touchdowns today?" And so that
can we score in our first 7 drives?
Yeah. Can I climb back in this race? Just everyone just be open. And they were.
We're taking a break for the podcast and staying here on the YouTube feed. Okay. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. You mentioned earlier, January Lamar is back. Chris Boswell, fantasy MVP today, 6 field goals.
Yeah.
I think he had 25 points in our league, prompting Hench, our buddy, to have a conniption about field goal kickers and should we just eliminate them from leagues and all that stuff. I gotta say, I actually kind of like having field goal kickers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. I do. I like it.
I like not having to worry about it. But Hench, to be fair, when like Burrow has 46 points, he wants to eliminate quarterbacks too. So he's a little all over the place. But it's kind of lucky. But we could have guessed that exact score, right? It was either going to be 18-16, 18-17, or 19-18. Only 3 options, really. So perfect.
Yeah, it was
perfectly scripted.
All the Steelers scores are scores that sound like they were a World War or an American war from the 1700s or 1800s. Yeah. I wrote down 2024 Steelers, the most likely team in NFL history to win 18-16. It's the most Steelers-y score you can get. But so Russ threw a red zone pick that was among the worst passes of the year. That felt like it was going to flip the game. It did not. He was 2 for 9 in the red zone for 7 yards.
When he escaped that sack, he had to escape a crazy sack to get there. And I was like, wow, that's 2014 Russ. And then it's like, oh, that's 2022 Russ right there with that interception.
That's post-COVID Russ. So they're 8-2 and yet their defense was really good today, even though they got some help with the field goal kicking. But the Russ thing combined with only really having one receiver, I just worry about them in January. That the fact that they're 8-2 with all the Pittsburgh, like I have a bunch of futures for them. It seems like they have a really good chance to win the division now, but just big picture, it just feels like they're not going to be able to get to 20 points in a playoff game like this. It feels like 18-19 is probably the limit for them, right?
Well, is there any scenario where he's not the worst quarterback in the AFC playoffs?
Oh, now that Bo Nix is looking
Yeah.
like he's coming out of a sports movie. This is a big
Just
one for
stayed at
you. You have a
Denver.
lot of Bo Nix stock.
I think he tightened that offensive rookie of the year gap there. Yeah, I just
Oh, he
here's
definitely
something
did.
interesting before we move on from Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Uh Burrow 9 touchdowns against Baltimore combined in 2 games. Didn't walk away with a win. Steelers
Mm,
had no touchdowns today.
yeah,
18-16.
no touchdowns.
It's a fun league.
Russ was 23 for 36 for 205, but it's that second receiver thing. So Pickens was 8 for 89 and made his every week he makes just an unbelievable catch that you just
Oh
can't
yeah.
believe. Number 2 receiver was Washington, 2 for 42.
Mhm.
Fryermuth was 2 for 14. Calvin Austin was 1 for -1. Skoranek was 1 for 4. And that's it for their receivers.
Yeah.
And at some point, that's going to come back to bite them. But their defense was great. That Queen got an awesome, awesome, awesome turnover for them
Mhm.
that they really needed. And I hate to say phrases like this, but they kind of have Lamar's number. He's 1 and
Yeah.
4 against them now, and it feels legit, right?
Yeah, I don't know I don't know. This is the team Lamar doesn't want to play in the playoffs. I think he's going to get his wish too, and he's going to have to do it on the road because they can't beat him. And but Henry didn't go for 115 either. That was another thing. Like this defense
Yeah.
is damn good when they need to be, but they really do have to figure out the quarterback thing. I feel bad for Tomlin when Fields is sliding. You mentioned it, like the thick white 40 stripe is the first down, and he's sliding like 2 yards short. Like it
That
was
was
like
awful.
a Johnny Knoxville fail video or something.
Their 2 running backs were 27 for 104. It felt worse watching it.
Mhm.
It felt like they were having trouble getting unlocked, but they moved the chains enough, I guess.
Justin
Defense is
Tucker.
great. If they can get defense, field goal kicking, good special teams, home field advantage for a couple rounds, they're going to be heard from. I have a lot of questions about them winning on the road, though, with what we've seen from us the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And Fields isn't going to be any better than that. All right, next one. Oh, speaking of that game, RIP Justin Tucker as a guy
Yeah.
you're afraid of for big kicks. We already knew it was coming, but today kind of cemented it.
I'm
I
afraid of
felt
him.
like.
If I bet the Ravens, I'm afraid of him. But yeah, but I guess last year he was maybe not just as bad, but really bad from 50 plus. So they
Yeah.
can see the writing on the wall with this guy.
One other thing. So the Christmas game, one of them on Netflix is Pittsburgh, Kansas City, which we were talking about last week, maybe not mattering if KC had this crazy record, but now it's
No, it's
probably going to
good.
matter. And that is
Yeah.
suddenly an amazing Christmas game. If they're separated by one game, it's going to be like the opposite of Mike Tyson against Jake Paul.
Oh, that was
Be
pretty
the
good. I don't know. I don't know what you were watching. I
We're
thought
saving
that
that
was
just for people listening. Sal and I
yeah.
will be talking about that fight
We
at the end.
watched
But
together.
anyway,
Yes, we
yeah, we
did.
did
Yeah.
watch together.
Yeah, that's a good one. Our family's going to hate us on Christmas. We're going to be glued to that one. It'll be good. Steelers,
Yeah, I
Chiefs.
felt like my family already didn't like me that much on Christmas, but I feel like this could be taking it to the next level. Another game that really jumped out that was awesome: San Francisco, Seattle.
Ugh, this is the one
What,
that
you had
killed
San
me.
Francisco?
Of
Did you bet on
course,
them?
on a money line parlay all over the
Oh
place. Yep.
no.
What do you
So
mean? Oh
Green
no, they
Green
had
Bay
it.
was my money line parlay
Well,
that
you
felt
won.
like it should have lost and miraculously won,
Yeah.
which we'll get to. But yeah, Gino, 7th game-winning drive in the fourth quarter OT since 2023.
What? Well, how did they do that? I know Bosa went off and they were helpless, right? But
Yeah,
how about contain Gino a little bit? It's like he shouldn't be running around like 2006 Michael Vick, right? But the
he was
announcers
wide
are like,
open on the runs too. Nobody's
they
near him.
only blitzed him once today. I don't know if they're going to keep that up. If Shanahan's, yeah, they kept it up, and he just went whatever he wanted. Could have run through the end zone.
I really respect Gino, the confidence he has after it goes right for him, how he behaves after.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
He's like really, really a lot of charisma about it. And it's like, but what about those 10 terrible throws you made earlier in the
right.
game and that fumble or but that like all of it gets wiped away in the crunch time.
Yeah,
It does through,
yeah.
but and yet
That
I
division's
even
crazy, crazy.
so we have not only the year from hell for San Francisco, but we're now in a situation where Arizona is 6-4 and the other 3 teams are 5-5 in the
Mhm.
NFC West. And it feels like that division's sending 2 teams.
You
But
think
the
so?
shocking Yeah, I think so.
So who's out then? Washington or Green Bay?
Detroit, Philly, Minnesota, Green Bay, Washington, Arizona, Atlanta. Oh shit, you're right.
Come on,
So
man.
somebody would have to
Don't
take
do this.
Washington's spot, but
Yeah.
I feel like somebody could take Washington's spot. I mean, they're 7-4 and should be 6-5, and they're arrow pointing down.
Yeah.
So,
They do play the Cowboys.
do you feel any difference between Washington, Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams after watching football for the last 4 weeks?
San Francisco is going to be the team that's maybe not that good that I'm going to hold on to, and I'm going to keep betting. I'm going
I
to figure out a
know.
way to bet them in the second round of the playoffs, even though they were eliminated like 2 weeks before
There's
somehow.
no more dangerous football team than the team that you keep waiting for them to
Yeah.
figure it out because you know how much talent they have, and then it's
Yeah.
week 19, and you're like, oh, they're not in the playoffs, and they went 5-12 against the spread this year,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
had them in 9 of the 12 games they didn't cover.
And you shake me in my sleep, and I'm like, McCaffrey's back. McCaffrey's back. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I can't beat anybody. Arizona's favored now to win the division, plus 100. Niners 270. Seahawks 5-1, and the Rams 5-1.
When do you
And I
think
have no
Arizona
idea.
was favored to win the division the last time? Like
Oh, that's a good question.
Carson Palmer, 2013-14 range
Yeah, so after Warner,
earlier?
right? Yeah. Yeah, right in there. That's a good question. They
San
have the
Francisco,
easiest schedule. I mean, San Francisco is like what you're about to read it, but 6 of the last 7 are dogfights.
yeah. Well, the bigger problem is they're 1-3 in the NFC West.
Yeah,
The
that's
worst
true.
record, and they only have 2 games left. But they got Arizona next week at home at Jets, at Arizona. So they play Arizona twice in the next 3 weeks, and I think they have to win both,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Um, home Green Bay on a Sunday night, week 15. Home Minnesota, at Chicago, at the Rams. I don't
This
see
is bizarre.
I don't see 5 win. I don't see that being a 5 and oh, I guess it would have to be.
Yeah, those are
Oh,
tough,
I
even if they beat Arizona twice, right?
Kyle, for the podcast, cut that out because I screwed that up. See, now you
What
guys can
happened?
see on the YouTube how the sausage is
No,
made. I read Seattle's schedule
oh
and
my
not San
God.
Francisco's schedule. My bad. So Kyle cut this out of the pod.
Yeah, San Francisco
Starting
played
over,
Arizona. Yeah, yeah.
San Francisco has at Green Bay, at Buffalo next to
Mm-hmm.
home Chicago, home Rams on a Thursday, at Miami, home Detroit, at Arizona.
Those are all rough. I mean, I thought that last game would mean something, but it really might not. It might be wrapped by then for them.
So they'd have to go 5-2 with all those games. I mean,
Yikes.
you go through all the NFC West teams, and really the only team that seems to have a semi-easy schedule is Arizona.
Yeah.
And their next 2 are at Seattle, at Minnesota. Not exactly easy, but at least they have home Seattle, home Pats, at Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
at the Rams, home San Francisco. Like there's a path to go 4-3 for them and get to 10 wins. But
Yeah, they're the only ones with Panthers on their schedule, I think, right?
I could see you
Helps.
texting me on Monday with some NFC West division bet that we'll probably do. And then a week later, we'll have a different team.
We'll be done.
We'll
Yeah.
just keep betting that dumb division over and over again.
Well, here's the thing that so Seattle and the Rams are similar in that they're going to kick you in the gut if you sleep on them, right? But then if you bet them, they're going to lose, right? They're just like they're going to come back from the dead, and you're just going to lose your mind trying to catch up to which zag they're on or zigging or not.
I 90% agree with that. And yet, when I watch Seattle sometimes, I'm like, why aren't these guys better?
Yeah.
Like, I think Kenneth Walker's good. I think their receivers are excellent. I think Geno could move the ball. I feel like when they're down 4 with 3 minutes left, I feel like they can actually go down the field and score. Which,
I
how
felt
many
like
teams
that
would you
too.
even say that about?
Holding a 49ers parlay slip. I felt the
Right.
same way. Yeah.
Couple more games that really stood out in a delightful day. So Detroit Jacksonville was beautiful because there were 8 games early, and this one allowed Detroit to immediately come off a TV.
Yeah.
I had the multi-view and the big TV. I had Green Bay, Chicago by itself, and then I had the other TV with the 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, Jacksonville just got to come up.
I left it on because I wasn't sure if they were going to escort Coach Middleseat out or not. I didn't want to miss that, right?
Like getting fired at halftime.
Yeah. Just pull up in like some kind of just like a hearse and just cart him away. My goodness. He's got to be gone.
Here lies Coach Middle Seat. He beat Belichick and Brady in a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and then became one of the worst coaches of the last 10 years. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And then it's reported yesterday that this is probably his last game. So he's dead man walking. And Jacksonville responds by giving up touchdowns on their first 7 drives against them and lose 52-6.
Yep.
I'm going to say he's going to get fired tomorrow.
The GM needs to see you. Bring your boarding pass, please.
You're in row 27B.
On Greyhound, by the way. You have the middle seat on the bus back. But you know what they should do? Because he has that statue outside of Philly, right? Outside the stadium. They should have, to punish him, they should have the guy who did Dwayne Wade's statue redo his statue. Like, that should be the FU for this miserable Jacksonville team. My God.
Well, this could be Belichick's next team.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. New stadium coming. I guess it depends how excited you are about Trevor Lawrence. We have learned that Mac Jones, maybe it wasn't just New England's situation.
Mm-hmm.
He just might not be a starting quarterback. So what was the tweet we saw about all the big spread Lions bets that hit?
Oh, the like escalator thing. I could find it.
Yeah. I sometimes I wonder if that's the thing that we're fucking up the most out of. We bet every year on football.
Yeah.
And just like identifying who the best team in the league is. And they always win at least 3 games by 30 points. And why aren't we just playing that? Because you could have taken Lions over Jags plus 30.5, whatever. And all of a sudden that's 12-1. And all you need to do is take one of those and it covers 12 weeks of bets.
So minus 27.5 was plus 520, minus 32.5, 10-1, minus 38.5, 20-1. If you bet the team total adjusted over 44.5, that was 850. Yeah, we missed out on a lot of free money.
Missed out on that.
They're damn good.
Colts Jets. You know, Rodgers has a Netflix special coming out in December about the last year with Aaron Rodgers.
I'm waiting for the joke. Go ahead.
That is the joke.
Really?
Yeah, you think they were thinking,
well,
this will be good. The Jets will be good, and then we'll drop this Rodgers thing. Like, does anyone want to hear 1 minute of Rodgers at this point? Like, even do you think McAfee wants to talk to him for an hour? Who wants to hear from him?
If you're ever gonna have buffering issues, that's the time. Netflix, go get it. Do it during the.
Try to get the same buffer guy from the Jake Paul Tyson fight. Use it for your. He just looks like he doesn't want to get hit anymore, and it's the final stage of QBs. We've seen it a lot of times with older guys who used to be good, and that last stage where they're just getting rid of the ball before somebody dings them. That's it. Doesn't come back. Right.
Listen,
I know you're like a pig in shit right now. You're so happy.
Just let me. I won't do this every week, but just let me, or you can cut it out of the podcast. I don't care.
No, we're not cutting it out. And plus, we're live on YouTube. Go do your thing.
They have 8 losses. They're not going to go over their win total, which is 9.5, which I thought was preposterous anyway. Right? I mean, my team sucks, but I knew the Jets weren't going over 9.5. They can't make the playoffs. So, a couple numbers for you. Winning percentages: Jets starters, Zach Wilson 364, Sam Darnold 342, Aaron Rodgers 273. Sit down, you phony. You led New York to believe you could lead them to the playoffs, and you're the fraud of all frauds. You brought all your friends in, who couldn't catch a pass. You got the coach fired. Somehow the best defense in football isn't excited to play for you. Now they're middle of the pack or worse. There's got to be some accountability. There's got to be. And, of course, there's the personal stuff where he alluded to the idea that my cousin was on the Epstein Island flight log, and the list comes out, and he, of course, wasn't, but the guy Rodgers likely voted for was. So classic douchebag. And now we're going to see a phantom injury in the next couple weeks. So how's that for a conspiracy theory? You like that?
Wow. What a rant.
Sorry. Take it. Take it, smart guy. He's so damn smart, so well read. He's got to tell us all about it all the time. What's he going to do now?
I'd be surprised if he played next year. Right?
Next year. He's going to find something to sit out next week, I think.
Oh, you think it'll be the calf strain?
Yeah.
They're worried it could be a torn Achilles if he steps on it wrong again. I don't even know who their backup is.
they could blame the bad field there at MetLife. Whatever's next
Well,
in
didn't
his
they give up
agenda.
a third round pick for Adams? That might
No,
be
it
what.
was it third? Was it a
Yeah, I think it
three?
was. That might be one
Oh,
of the like top 6 picks of the third round.
yeah. Good. Good. I
I
love it.
like.
I love
I
all of it.
as I've said many times, I have a kinship with the Jets fans because the Pats and the Jets were the two sad sacks of the entire AFC, like for the most of the 30 years of my life. And I think we're wired the same way DNA in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Then the Pats fans' life changed, the Jets fans did not. But this was like, yeah, honestly, this 2 years of Rodgers, it was almost cruel, starting with like him blowing out his Achilles immediately and then all the other stuff. And
Yeah.
I just can't think of it's one of the worst free agent or I guess it was a trade. It's one of the worst
Mhm.
veteran acquisitions in the history of the NFL, right?
And they fell for it again, right? Like
And they're
the
trading
Favre
assets
thing.
for to help
Yeah.
them, and they're firing people. And
Everything. He had everything laid out for him. And Shane Steichen tried to blow that game today. Like how many
oh, can we
times?
talk about that?
Let's
I
do
asked
it.
Lombardi. Lombardi's the master of the nicknames.
Yeah.
He came up with the clapper. He came up with disc jockey Mike McCarthy.
Right.
I was like, what's the Shane Steichen nickname? And he's texted us back. Uh, he was like, he coaches like he's playing somebody online in Thailand. So we were calling him Thailand Shane. Like, the guy I'm playing on Twitch, his stream went out in Thailand. So anyway, Thailand Shane, I think the key thing for him is that there seems to be I was thinking like he's in a dark room just shouting out plays and doesn't know the
Yeah.
score, the downs, or the situation. He's just like, eat right 45. Has
Yeah.
no idea what's going on. The best of all of them was the 2 point conversion with Richardson. They go up by one. They need the
Touch
2 point.
pass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if Richardson can wait for a guy to cross the middle and then loft a beautiful touch pass. I'm like, I am positive Richardson can't do this. There's no
Never
way.
happened in practice. No way.
There's no way this will ever. But at the same time, Richardson, which is what makes him so interesting, he can't throw a 4 yard screen pass.
Mhm.
He has no touch on a pass like that. And yet he'll rifle a 25 yarder perfectly, or he'll nail somebody down the sidelines, or he'll run around and he looks like, giant Cam Newton. And you're like, this guy is clearly something. He's not a bust.
Yeah, but how about you recognize that, Shane Steichen, right? Like you're with them all week. You don't just inherit them at 1 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday, right? You see
Yeah.
the limitations and everything else, and it's like fit them in where it's you like. I don't know. I don't love golf, but you wouldn't use a sand wedge to hit a ball that was 10 feet from the hole, right? Like just figure out where he works best. And they eventually did. It took a minute, but they won.
Yeah.
Good win ultimately. Yeah.
Lombardi's podcast is the GM Shuffle, and I'm sure he's going to talk about this tomorrow. But one thing he said that I'm going to steal, but I'm giving him credit. He calls the game exactly the same, whether it's Flacco or Steichen. That's what I'm Flacco or Richardson. That's what Lombardi said. And I was like, that's such a great point. Like you have Richardson, you have this massive guy that you would think you could run QB draws with. You could roll him out like almost like a giant fullback, like he's Bronco Nagurski, and yet they're running these goofy plays. I don't get it. I support the benching from a couple weeks ago because I really thought Richardson looked terrible, but obviously they worked his confidence back.
Can I what's their record now? Because they're yes to make
they're
the
5-6.
They're only plus 148 to make the playoffs. Are they don't really scare me.
They're 5-6. Basically, the case for them would be
well, they must have an easy schedule, but I don't even know what that would look like.
Well, there's two pieces. One is their game beyond Denver. Do you trust Denver? The other is they're only 2 games in the loss column behind Houston, who keeps losing guys and just seems like they can never get all their guys healthy at the same time and haven't been that impressive to begin with. Houston's 6-4. They've scored 224 points. They've given up 226.
Yeah.
So maybe the odds factor into that, but
maybe
frustrating game.
I guess they have a couple easy ones. And they play at Denver. That's another one. Denver's going to have an interesting way of controlling their own destiny here. They have the Colts and they have Cincinnati.
Let's take one more break for the podcast. We'll stay here on the YouTube. Couple more quick games. Bears, Packers. So Caleb was good today,
Yeah.
and they changed a lot about him. He was getting rid of the ball a lot faster. I thought he was way more involved, just as like a quarterback and a leader, and he just seemed like he had more energy. I thought they outplayed the Packers. I would be alarmed if I was a Packers fan because you should have lost, and you didn't lose because the Bears drove down inside the 30. Eberflus just decides to I
We're
want to
good.
be careful here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to play for the outdoor 46-yard field goal. The Bears fans all hate Eberflus, and this is why, because he does shit like this. He's just not a terrible game management coach. But I thought they should have won, and I'll go further, Sal. Chicago's they lost that Tennessee game in week 1 that I think you bet on,
Yes, I did. Yep.
right? Oh no, they won that
No,
game.
they won. They
Yeah,
won.
they
I
won
won
that
against
game.
Caleb Williams in his first game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they lost that Hail Mary game. They lost someone today, so they could at least be 6-5. So
Sure.
maybe it evens out with that they shouldn't have won the Tennessee game. I don't know, but whatever it is, their record should be at least one win better.
That yes, and I really think, I mean, that Hail Mary really spooked the hell out of. I don't know if what do we
Yeah.
call, like, the haunted Hail Mary, the curse of Caleb, the Windy City Whisperer, like, really, I don't know, the ghost of Shane Waldron, like, that really, they can't, and now nobody blocks on field goal attempts. Like, hey,
I
how
would
about
say
you guys block?
The Hail Mary was almost like the whole team had a car accident. It was like a
Yeah.
traumatic event.
It's like, hey, get over it, guys. It's 3 weeks ago. But there's also the part of it where, what did they lost 11 in a row to Green Bay? Like, eventually they had to be
Yeah.
like, all right, we got to get, by the way, they shoved this rivalry down our throats. The league does, the greatest in football, even though you and I can't remember a good competitive game like that we cared about between these two in the last quarter century.
But I
So
think the reason it's special is just because the teams have been around since like the
that's
1910s
fine.
or
But
whatever the fuck. That's it.
but
I'm
so have
not saying I
we,
agree.
and we can't remember any good game from that. Like,
So
I
we
think
had
there
a great
was, yeah. Go
we
ahead.
had a great Matt LaFleur moment in this game too. This was not I wouldn't have called this a chess match today. They have first down and goal from the 8. They're trying to score to take the lead late in the game. Somehow
Yeah.
it ends up being 4th and 6. There's still like, I don't know, 10, 11 minutes left. Kick the field goal, cut it to 2, try to get a stop. Nope. He goes
Mm,
for it on 4th and 6, doesn't get
yeah.
it, and traps the Bears at the 1-yard line. But unless there's like 2 minutes left in the game, it's just idiotic. There's no other way to say it. That's just idiotic. It's so hard to get a 4th and 2, much less a 4th and 6. So many, you're basically hoping for like a pass interference or a defensive breakdown
Yep.
or some sort of like gimmick play that the play broke down, your quarterback rolled out and created something. I just didn't think Green Bay deserved to win that game.
For the most part, you got to take points in these rivalry games, right? In the
Yeah.
division games. Again, the rivalry, whatever. But in the division games, we saw the Steelers do it against Baltimore. And, you don't have to be super careful, but it would have helped the 49ers, a lot of these teams.
I thought the Packers had a chance to be better than maybe they're going to be.
Yeah.
Kind of giving up on them a little bit but we have seen around Thanksgiving, somebody comes out of nowhere and ascends heading into the playoffs. Can't rule them out because of their talent, but I think it's a disappointing. I thought they had a chance to be the second best team in the NFC, and from what I'm watching, I don't see it.
Well, it's two, right? It's like, oh, they should be better, but also like, if you live predicted their fate after like Love went down in Brazil,
True,
you've been like,
they're
well,
playing
how are
with
they going to
house
be?
money.
They can't be 7-3, and here they are.
I texted Kyle Brandt in the first half because Caleb really did look good. I was like, Caleb, exclamation point. And
Yeah.
he's like, don't worry, we're gonna lose late. He's a Bears fan.
Yeah.
There's just no question we're losing late. And that's what happened.
Amazing.
Speaking of coaching scared, Gerard Mayo, the Pats yet again lost the game that they probably could have won. The play calling was
You're upset
I
about
thought we
this?
were doing better. No,
Mm.
because Drake May is really special. And I feel like if you had just switched quarterbacks, we would have the same result. Maybe he would have done better. But there's a thing on ESPN about all the coaching mistakes, like not going for it on 4th and goal, doing a PAT instead of a 2-point when it was 28-19, et cetera, et
Mm.
cetera. And then this is what the article says. Such decisions are always easy to second guess, but none worked out for the Patriots. Mayo has said he's taking notes throughout his first season and plans to learn from his experience. This game presented multiple decisions from which he can learn.
Wow.
It's week 11.
Yeah. This sounds like something you, if you get an F on your report card, you come home and tell your parents, like, yeah, I'm taking notes though. I'm gonna kill
Yeah,
geometry
I think my
next
son
semester.
said this last year when he was struggling in the 10th grade. Like, hey, I know my grades are bad, but I'm learning some good stuff.
Did Mayo
Learning some things
overhear
going
Ben
forward.
Simmons? Yeah, I think that's what happened.
It's so fun. Like Kyle and I were going nuts because they just don't. I just here's my advice for the Patriots. If anyone from the Patriots is listening, and I'm sure they aren't, go and watch like the 50 most successful Josh Allen plays and the 50 most successful John Elway plays. Just study what those plays were, and then run some of them for Drake May, because every time he rolls out to his right, he can throw it across his body to the middle of the field. He can zing it down the sideline. He can throw it deep. He can take off and run. Any QB draw with him, he's dangerous. The teams are so terrified he's going to take off. They hand off on every first down. It's like that. We have to start out. So it's 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 11. Like that's a must. The receivers at one point, he was 10 for 13 with 3 drops. Yeah. All of his receivers suck. They spent a 2nd-round pick on a guy who all he does is get a false start whenever he's on the field. Meanwhile, McConkey went nuts again today. But it's just like they have this incredible asset. It's like watching a team that has a diamond and they're like fucking playing Thanksgiving catch with it outside.
Yeah. Wow. This is more biting than my Aaron Rodgers eulogy.
That's frustrating.
No, but
I think Drake May is really good.
This really is going to make you feel better, but at some point, talent matters. And not his, but the supporting cast. And that's why the Rams were so good. Puka Nacua almost broke both of his elbows making that crazy catch, that first touchdown. And they also, I don't really care because that was my best bet, the Rams -4.5.
And you somehow fucking covered, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, baby. Somehow. We're up 2 touchdowns. 9-2 on the year. Best handicapper on TV, radio, podcast, YouTube.
McVay said, he looks like a stud. Blah, blah, blah. You can just see the impact that he has on his teammates, the way people talk about him here. He looks like he's going to be a special player for a long time, and he gave us fits today. Thanks, Sean McVay.
You're in a good spot. Why do you want to go? We're in a great spot. You want to go 7 and 10? You want to go?
No, it was the perfect. My dad said that today. It's perfect outcome.
Yeah.
Drake did enough good stuff to make you feel great. Right. The team did enough terrible stuff to end up losing the game. And perfect. And there you go. Broncos, Falcons, Bo Nix since the beginning of October. Only 2 picks, 13 passing touchdowns, over 1,600 yards passing. And he was awesome in that game today.
Well, didn't it seem like some of these teams, they wear these uniforms and it's like, oh man, they look so fast. Like Denver he was hitting these guys in stride. There was no doubt that they were open.
Yeah.
Like, is Atlanta that bad? Like we know that
might be bad.
Junk division, but my God.
That was my favorite pick of the week.
That was
good. Just think the Falcons, whatever their record is, it could easily have been 3 wins worse. And I think the Broncos I've said this for weeks, that I think they're the good, bad team. Yeah. I think if you put another like mediocre or worse team in front of them, they're probably going to win. That's a really nice bounce back for them after what happened last week. But here's my takeaway after watching that game. Can you guess what Atlanta's odds are to win the NFC South?
I think I might have seen him by accident.
You saw this?
Is it -400 or something like that?
They're -550 to win the NFC South.
Yeah. Look at Tampa's schedule.
Tampa's 5-1. And their schedule is super easy down the stretch, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
And by the way, New Orleans somehow has 4 wins too with the Clogger.
Oh,
the Clogger's 2-0.
He's the best.
Unclogging Cleveland all over the place. So Tampa's at the Giants, at Carolina, home Vegas, next 3.
Look at those 3. Wow.
So that could be, they could have 7 wins in 3 weeks.
Keep going.
At Chargers, at Dallas, home Carolina, home Saints. They could be 6-1. We're betting this.
All right, let's do it.
We're betting on Tampa 5-1.
We're putting money in this terrible division. I said I wouldn't do it, but I guess 12 weeks is long enough to hold out there. This is like Seinfeld, the contest. Like, how long can you last without betting the NFC South? I'm in. 12
Penix came
weeks.
in and it was super exciting. His
Yeah, it was
cousins
good.
looked like he was 130 years old. I thought that was the dumbest line of the week. So 2 weeks in a row, as we've done guess the lines, and there was a line, and I was like, that's absolutely idiotic. So I wonder if that happens again this week. I'm going to bet even more money.
I think you're right, because 2 weeks ago they had gotten blown out by the Ravens. It could have been easy for them to pack it in, and then they lose
Yeah.
on that dumb field goal to the Chiefs, and then
Right.
they just light it up today. But yeah, they went over their win total of 5.5 already.
2 weeks ago, Cardinals Jets was the dumbest line. So we'll see if we have a dumb line this week. Saints Browns. So Jameis is 21-33 in his last 54 starts. Did you think that would be better or worse?
I might have been wrong about him. I thought he would
21
turn
and
this
33.
franchise around.
He might not be a winning QB.
Yeah, I got really excited about this is a revenge game, and the Saints should have started him 9 weeks last year over Derek Carr, but no, that didn't really matter. You can't screw with the clogger. Clogger's 55-31 outscored his opponents. So he's the only undefeated coach in the league this year.
Clogger's got
Andy
great
Reid.
energy on the bench too.
Yeah.
Definitely better than what did Lombardi call him? Thailand Shane?
Thailand Shane. Yeah.
He's beating a 14-year-old in Madden tonight.
The clogger's mad. He wants to be called the plunger, but no, we're sticking with the clogger. Sorry.
This Taysom Hill fantasy conundrum thing is weird.
What's a conundrum? What? How many times?
Like he's eligible for tight end and
right,
suiting up as quarterback. We've never really figured this out.
Runs the ball. Yeah.
Random stuff, really quick. Why don't teams QB sneak anymore? What happened? The Chargers, Herbert's 6'6", and they won't QB sneak with him on first and goal from the one. He's 6'6". Brady, what did he not convert 2 QB sneaks out of 1,500 in his career?
Yeah.
You're 6'6". It should be automatic. You should be able to get a yard.
I'm with you.
What happened? Is it because Mahomes got hurt that time? Everyone's afraid now?
So we know why he does it and or doesn't do it, right? We know why Hurts does it, because it's an automatic. He's going to get launched 6 yards. But yeah, you would think it'd be a Harbaugh thing. Like, hey, we're going to get our offensive line to be disciplined enough to get this giant forward half an inch.
Tennessee, Minnesota, I watched 0 plays of.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what's the opposite of a multi-view game?
Interesting.
It's like a multi-view blackout. I didn't know what it is. A radio game.
Yeah. I had it on a small screen, like a Post-it, like a big Post-it, like that size screen. That's basically what I had.
I'm good with not watching Tennessee again this season.
Well, even the Vikings are boring. Like, I don't know. We see Detroit kill these garbage teal AFC South teams like, Jacksonville and Tennessee. Vikings don't feel like they're 8-2.
Miami Dolphins 4-6. We talked about this scenario 2 weeks ago, and now it's or 1 week ago, because we did it before the Rams game on Monday night.
Right.
And they won 2 games in 6 days. They play the Patriots this week, and they could be 5-6. They're at Green Bay on a Thursday, home Jets at Houston, home San Francisco, a game that suddenly seems a lot easier than it was on the schedule. And then at Cleveland at the Jets last 2 weeks. Could get to 9 wins from 4-6.
The fights for the 7 seeds are going to be good in both conferences, right? I don't know that they have a chance against the 2 seeds, but it's going to be good. Well, I mean, it really could be 5. Sorry to
good, but also not good, because then we have to watch them when we're all together for round 1, and then it's a lot less good when we're watching the Dolphins in a playoff game.
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking of the NFC West division where everybody's 5-5. I could see all 3 of those other teams going 3-3 the rest of the way, and right, and then it's all going to come down to the next week.
Well, I hope the Dolphins at least get a little more exciting, because I think our friend John Jastrzemski, who hosts the Ringer Sunday pregame show, the king of the underdog, he did it today. I think you're number 1. I've known you a long time. I did an Instagram thing. I'm 22 years in LA now, so we've known each other 22 years. Your number 1 thing you hate over really anything else, including cancer and pestilence, like name all the worst things in the world, is when people claim an underdog pick, and either they're not an underdog, which the Fox guys used to do. They're like, I like the Browns. And meanwhile, the Browns would be -1.5, and Bradshaw's taking them as an underdog. or somebody who takes an underdog that's like a plus 105 or a plus 108, which is what JJ did today on the show. Bengals plus 108.
The Fox guys are 80 years old. So you're teaching them how to, you're
Yeah, they
teaching
don't
them
even
how
understand
the
gambling.
text, and their brains are spinning out of their heads. JJ does 17 podcasts a week on gambling, and he's very proud of his Bengals plus 108. By the way, good. I'm glad he lost. Now I'm thinking I didn't care about the game. Now I'm glad. Yeah.
Like House is doing House's Steelers plus 158. Like people are doing real underdog picks.
I had the Raiders. Yeah.
Yeah. You're the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. You want to take Jake Paul too, JJ? I'm sorry. I don't know. Is that an underdog? I'm like, come on. So,
and then he gets defensive about it.
He got upset.
Yeah. Jesus, JJ. Plus 108. Here's my courageous underdog pick. I was sending him cowardly lion pictures.
He wasn't responding towards the end. Bro, that plus symbol is all you need to see, bro.
If it's a plus symbol, it counts as an underdog, bro.
Good for you. It's a pick 'em.
Just hell hath no fury if I get Juan Soto on the Red Sox, the amount of text I'm going to be sending JJ.
Oh.
That'll bring me right back with the Red Sox. The sabbatical will be over. They won't get
there. You go.
Yeah. So playoff picture. KC, Detroit is the 1 seeds. Buffalo, Denver is 1 matchup, 2-7. Pittsburgh, Chargers. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Pittsburgh, Baltimore would be the 3-6. And then Houston Chargers would be the 4-5 if it ended today.
Right.
So that's probably the Shakey's game, Houston Chargers.
Yeah, the AFC South is locked in.
The other one, we would have, let's see. I'm too confused by the NFC.
You'll get it.
I guess
Stick with it.
The most important one is right now it'd be Arizona hosting Minnesota in round 1. Another possible Shakey's game. Then all the other
that's
ones,
the 4-5. That would be the 4-5.
Because it looks like Minnesota's got the inside track on the 5 seed, unless Green Bay or Washington.
Well, but Atlanta's a worse division winner, right? At 6-5. Wouldn't they be the 4?
Yeah, you're right. Because those teams are going to go backwards. Oh yeah, so it could be
if Atlanta.
That could be Atlanta, Minnesota.
That's
this is why I didn't want to do the NFC. I knew I was going to fuck it up.
That's a tough one to bet, though. I don't like that.
One more break for the podcast, and then we'll do Guess the Lines. All right, Guess the Lines, Sal. What's our record for the year?
All right, so
what do we got?
I won last week, so
congrats.
You're up 6-4-1 through 11 weeks.
So you're like a plus 107 underdog. Could JJ bet you?
JJ's all over it.
And then Raheem, who's also on the show, who's been doing well lately, and just can't resist telling everybody about how well he's doing. He's in the dugout being like, "Hey, we're throwing a no-hitter through 5 innings. No hits by the other team."
I love it. We just brag.
What a bunch of characters.
And then Joe House, that pregame show is an hour and a half, and he holds the microphone for an hour. It's a heavy ass, but it's not, this is not, you're not holding like a calendar here. It's a pretty hefty microphone. He has to.
Really said Raheem is a confidence player. Yeah, House did $1 million picks with me after the Washington game on Thursday night. Yeah. And he's like, I might have a few drinks. I'm like, great. People love Drunk House. And he was actually pretty subdued. And as we're doing it, I'm like, this actually might be Drunk House because he's not loud and like fun Drunk House. He actually seems like he's had a few. So then today he's like, yeah, the Browns. I was probably a little drunk on Thursday night. I probably should have suggested that one because he gave me the Browns.
You're blaming him, but you're betting $1 million on these picks. They really should come from you. I don't know why you're so trusting.
I know. Thursday night. Steelers, speaking of the Browns. Steelers in Cleveland. It's really rough for the Browns. So maybe we should have seen it coming when they traded one of their pass rushers right before the trade deadline. And then they traded Amari Cooper, their best receiver, and that should have been a red flag. Steelers at Cleveland on a Thursday night. And to me, this has to be Steelers by 3.5.
Really? You're still going to get it. I said 6.5. It's 4.5. Why is that even that low? 8-2 against 2-8.
I just think the Thursday night, You got to
division
dock
game.
it for the road team coming off an emotional physical. I mean, that Baltimore Pittsburgh game, we didn't talk about how
I
physical
guess
and
so.
how much shit
Yeah.
talking there was in that game. That game was awesome. These
Right.
games were awesome today. Pittsburgh, Baltimore,
I
the
know.
the Buffalo game was great. This Chargers game was great, and this Steelers
Seattle was
Browns game will
fun.
not be great.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sunday
Yeah.
marquee game. I think it's Packers Niners, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's in
There's some
Green Bay.
interesting ones, but that's it. Yep.
I had a lot of trouble with this one because the Niners seem like they're getting a lot of respect based on past performance,
Mhm.
potential of what the performance is. And I really think this line should be at least Packers by 1.5. So I'm going to do that. Packers by 1.5.
Well, you said at least. You want to go a little higher? You can go a little
No.
higher if you want. Motherfucker. I said 2. It's 1.5.
You think that
Oh.
flips? Is that Niners minus 1.5? George Kittle's back.
Oh yeah. Oh, they love flipping the
Bosa's
1.5s.
healthy.
They love the 1.5 is
It'd be
so
the flip.
dangerous, right? And now we're gonna add 6 and make a nice teaser, and it's not gonna make any sense.
Did you see there
Well,
was a thing going around today about, and I don't know if it accounts for today's games or not. Somebody sent this to me. Active NFL coach records in 1-score games.
I didn't
And the
see this
worst
one.
coach is Eberflus at 5-17 in 1-score
Wow.
games. Zach Taylor's 21 for 32, 21 and 32.
Hmm.
Peterson's 32 and 43, and Kyle Shanahan's 29 and 33 in 1-score games. Kind of feels that
Wow.
way, right?
Yeah, Shanahan feels that way because I think we examined this stat a year ago with Shanahan. You're telling me Zach Taylor's won 21 1-score games?
Yeah,
No way.
where were they?
No. College? What is it,
How'd
like
that
junior
happen?
college? No.
Tomlin's 107 and 68 in 1-score games, which
He's the man.
adds up.
Yeah.
LaFleur was 33 and 21. And then your guy McCarthy's
What's
73 and 65. But
Oh,
he had
those were-
Rodgers before Rodgers
Yeah,
was
that's
washed.
not fair. That's not fair.
But yeah, the Eberflus thing jumped out to me, and then Shanahan 29 and 33 with all the talent they've had.
Mhm.
Thought that was notable.
Yeah, you think when you go for an extension, they show you that tweet or wherever you saw? It's not good.
You know what else isn't good, Sal? I only have 2 watchable games after
Yeah.
the marquee game. And one of them is the Lions, just because I think Lions Colts will be fun, because I really enjoy watching Richardson. You just don't know what's going to happen with Richardson.
Right.
Every pass is exciting. He might sail it over somebody's head. He might bounce it. It might be like one of the best 20-yard in passes you've seen. Just don't know. I have the Lions favored by 6.5 in Indianapolis.
All right. Finally, I get this. I had 7, and it's 7.5. They're just crushing teams, though. They have to put it north of 7. This can't go lower.
Feels like a tease, right?
Yeah. They're not ready to lose yet, Detroit. There'll be a time. That's not yet.
Campbell's definitely got the Drago's trainer face going during these games. He just wants to like pour it on. Yeah. No. Seahawks Cardinals in Seattle. And I was going to go 1.5, and I'm going to say Seahawks -2 after today.
You get it. It's 1.5. I said 4. Why are
Cardinals have had a really good month.
I know. They're getting a little too much credit here. Little too much.
2 fairly watchables. Vikings at Chicago is the first one. Something is not watchable about the Vikings, and I can't put my finger on it. But I'm never like, oh, cool, the Vikings are on offense. And they have guys I like watching. Something's missing.
Yeah, we don't like when you have a big play guy, a top 3 fantasy guy, Justin Jefferson, and
who never seems to get the ball.
Struggling to score. Like, I think they averaged 30 over their first 4 games. In the last 2 or 3, they've averaged like 15 or something. So
I'm going to say Vikings by 3 in Chicago.
You're going to get this. I said 4.5. It's 3.5.
I think that ends at 3.
Did they play yet? No, they play week 15. Think that goes down?
Yeah. I think that gets to 3. Dolphins home for the Pats is the other one. And I swear the Pats aren't bad.
You swear you wouldn't lie to me?
I swear they're not bad. And you can't tell me you weren't fucking sweating out that Rams game
No, I
today.
was. I was. Yeah. I'm glad they kicked.
Pats lose to Seattle 23-20 in a game that they coach scared and they had Brissett instead of May. They lose week 5 to Miami when they should have started May. I think they would have won that. They lost that one 15-10. They lost that stupid Tennessee game in week 9 by 3, and they lost this Rams game today. It's a 3-8 team that they really could be 6-7. Couple plays. They're not bad.
Whatever you say. I don't know how the 3-8 gets to 6-7. Like they really could have played 2 more games.
You know,
11 weeks.
I wasn't asked to do math.
Well, the question is, do they have any? How many blowouts do they have? Like I look at the Cowboys,
None.
I'm like, oh, we have at least 3 or 4. You have none. You have no blowout. Like receiving end of a blowout. I'm saying.
Oh yeah, we got blown out a couple times. Yeah, Houston.
No,
Houston
but
got us
coming up. Like, are you going to have 2 or 3 or, you have what 7 games, right?
Miami, Indy, Arizona, Buffalo, Chargers, Buffalo
6
again.
games left. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have
Maybe
that Pats over under 4.5, and they have 3 wins.
Oh, you're fighting that out end of December for sure.
But think about it: at Miami, home Indy; at Arizona, at Buffalo, Chargers, Buffalo. Like probably only 1 win left with this coaching staff. I'm gonna say
this exact. I got this exactly.
You did? I'm gonna say Miami by 6.5.
Oh, you should have said 7. Very close though.
I would advise people not to tease that. I just don't. That seems like a classic Miami looking ahead game. Who does Miami play the week after this? They play.
Well, that's Thanksgiving week, right?
Yeah, they're at Green Bay on Thursday that next week. So this is a classic. Right. Hey, it's the Pats. We'll get by this. We got Green Bay on Thursday, and then all of a sudden we're up 10-0.
You played tough with them last time, right? Wasn't it like 15-10? Is that what you said?
I think we can play with that team.
Now, the reason these games are so shitty is because 6 teams are off, right?
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that. Buffalo,
some
Cincinnati,
huge fantasy implications. Yeah, there's some like teams with fantasy guys. So the poop fecta is loaded. We might need the clogger to unclog it. Really some doozies. There's 5. Bucks Giants at in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks -4.
Yeah, you get it. I said 5. It's 3.5. Stupid. That's dumb. Except that we're going to bet Tampa to win the division, so they're definitely going to lose.
Yeah, so we kind of need to do that because I need to be interested in week 12. So maybe that's the first way to do it.
Let's do it.
Bet the Bucks. Washington is home for the Cowboys.
Watch
God
out.
only knows how bad you're going to look tomorrow.
Watch out.
I have Washington by 8.
Yeah, man, you're edging me out here. I had 7.5. It's 9.5.
That's too high. Washington hasn't looked good in a month.
Well, the Cowboys haven't looked good in 6 years in a month. So
fair.
Should be interesting.
Oh, you don't think the schedule can get worse? Can I offer you Chiefs, Panthers, and Carolina?
Yeah. You could offer me a 3-team teaser.
Well, that's why I'm jacking this up because they're going to have, this will be in the tease range. I'm going to say Chiefs by 11.5 in Carolina.
Can't get one of these. I had 12. It's 10.5. They can't lose that. Put that on any teaser from now, whenever, however long you think you're going to be betting, 15, 20 more years, 40. Just try to get them on whatever FanDuel will allow.
I had another 4-teamer 13-pointer, by the way.
Oh, I saw that. Wait.
Chargers plus 11, Chiefs, Lions, and then the Eagles on Thursday night.
Oh, you must have won. Oh, you sent me something else.
I think that was it.
The UFC. No,
I hit that
UFC,
too. Yeah, I hit the
Green Bay.
UFC one
Look
too.
At you
Yeah,
hitting everything.
Bo Nickel with John Jones, who could not have been more amazing in that fight. And then
weapons.
the Lions and the Packers was basically even odds. John Jones figured out how to do a liver punch as a spinning back kick.
Right. Yeah.
Like I've never seen a UFC move that looked like it hurt more than that move.
Yeah.
Like
You don't
if
usually
they did that
see.
to us, what would happen to us?
I would still. I would. No. I would still be. I'd say I'd still be in the ring, but I think they would carry me to my grave. So I don't think I would still be in the ring. Yeah.
Did
No.
that
His
break like
foot went
5
right through.
ribs, right?
It looked like it really like he was going to have trouble getting his foot out of that sternum. Right.
I thought he was so good. Stipe was terrible. Stipe looked like he was kind of
Yeah.
washed, but
Yeah.
John Jones was like he played all the hits. Like he did the ground and pound in the first
Mm-hmm.
round. He's just like he has this ways of just like it's like 20 elbows and 19 of them land. He was so
Right.
good.
Someone gave Stipe a round, which was insane.
Jesus.
It's one of the judges there.
2 more terrible games. Texans, Titans. This is in Houston. And I thought about getting this to 9 because I know they're gonna think everyone's gonna tease it, but the Texans just haven't been good enough. So I'm gonna say Texans 8.5.
I hate when you're explaining it, and I know you have me dead to rights, but I still have to listen to the whole thing.
And
It
keep a
is,
poker face.
yeah, it is. It's I had 9, and it is 8.5. This is disgraceful.
That's a slightly dangerous game for Houston because Tennessee's defense isn't bad.
Short
Right?
week for Houston.
Short
Yeah,
week for Houston.
well,
Last
that's gonna
one.
be a battle, boys. Very physical.
You know, this one might not be a poop fecta game with the way Bo Nix is playing, but Broncos in Vegas playing the Raiders and Bobby Bacala, Antonio Pierce.
Yeah,
I was saying to you in Lombardi that
yeah,
Bobby Bacala was Uncle Junior's driver for 2 years, and then like somehow a couple people died and he became a captain.
right.
And it was like, how is this guy captain? He was like getting Uncle June and Baba Ghoul.
Yeah,
Gaba, what do they call that? What's that
gobble
sandwich?
goal.
Gabadol. What do they call it? Baba Ghoul?
That
That
was
was a
that
horror
was
movie.
Karen's last
Gabadoo.
lasagna, Junior. It's
I'd never heard of
frozen.
Gabadoo before.
You're not saying it right. It's okay.
Gabadool?
Gabadool.
Ga-
It's like your daughter's first words.
That's
Now
a
I don't even
Jersey
know
thing.
what it
That was
is. Gabagool.
not in the Connecticut, Massachusetts area. Um, but yeah, it's like Antonio Pierce. They just cut to him on the sidelines, and he just says
Yeah.
this look like. I wonder if I'm going to be able to do TV next year. I wonder if there's going to be a college job. Broncos. I'm going to say -4 in Vegas.
All right. You get it either way. But this I said 3. It was 3.5. It went to 4.5. What kind of injury could there be on Vegas for them to move this a line? I know their running backs both got hurt, but it was like Amir Abdul or whatever. But why did this move within an
Well,
hour?
did you see any of the Vegas game?
Oh, I know they're terrible. Yeah. But
Minshew had a play where in the fourth quarter he rolled out
Mhm.
and he threw a pass, and I think it was Jalen Ramsey. He fell down, so he was on the ground. And the guy was open, and Minshew somehow threw it to Jalen Ramsey, who caught it when he was lying on the ground for
Mm,
an interception. I had never seen
nice.
that before.
That's good.
Yeah, tough times for Minshew.
Jesus. I love. I just want so badly to bet that team, but they got to be a stay away for the rest of the year.
Sunday night, Eagles Rams in LA. Not a bad game.
Yeah,
I have a
either one.
crowd prediction for this. There's a lot of Philly fans that live here.
Oh yeah.
You put a lot of Philly fans together, and if the game becomes frustrating or disappointing in the first or second quarter, the vibe / energy in that arena or stadium
Mhm.
completely changes and gets super weird. And I feel like that's going to happen in this game. You put 50,000
What?
Eagle fans who are furious because Sirianni went for it on 4th and 3 and Jalen
Right.
Hurts got sacked. And just you can hear the grumbling all around the stadium. I'll never forget the Super Bowl Eagles Pats. Like it was the weirdest energy I've ever felt in a game. It's just the Eagles fans were so mad. It was like in the second quarter, they're furious.
But those are Eagles fans. These are going to be LA Eagles fans, right?
You think they're going to be more mellow because we have good weather?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I
No,
don't think so either.
that'll be bad. But this means more to the Rams for sure.
I do not have the Rams favorite, Sal. I have Eagles -1.5.
Yeah, I said 2, and it's 3. Eagles
Ooh,
are a full field goal.
wow. The rarely
I think
seen 3.
think they're counting on what you're talking about. A lot of Eagles fans
Well, if
showing
there's
up
a lot
there.
of Bengals fans, we're gonna get a lot of Eagles fans.
Yeah.
Did I clinch yet, or is this still up in the air?
Why you want to quit?
No.
Yeah, it's like
Might
nine to
pull my
three.
starters.
Yeah, pull them all. 9-3, you're up.
Last
Ugly.
game Monday night, we get to watch the Chargers again. Oh, Mike. Uh, Ravens at Chargers. Ravens in LA. I wonder if Mallory Rubin will be in the house. I bet she will.
Yeah.
She doesn't leave her own house, but she might be in this house. Um, I'm gonna say Baltimore by 1.5.
Are they checking on an injury? Because it's not on fan. I pulled it up before and now it's not on.
Mm.
You look there, but what'd you say? We both said 1.5 anyway. It's 3. It's the last I saw. But is Herbert
Yeah, it's not
Herbert
on
hurt or
FanDuel.
somebody? Herbert might be.
Maybe he got hurt when they ran that play when he just got that option play when he just got annihilated, and
Yeah.
Collinsworth's like, please don't ever run that play again.
Oh, his right arm is tough.
Uh,
Yeah, he could throw left-handed if he wants. Yeah, we watch him
still
stand
handsome
there.
either way, Mike.
Of course. All right, you won. 7-4-1 after 12.
So we watched Tyson Paul together at our cousin Jimmy's.
Yeah.
One of the most depressing sporting events I can remember. You felt by the second round, felt like it was over. I went back because I'd remembered writing a column about some fight that felt like the end of Tyson's career. And it was the Lennox Lewis fight, which was in 2002.
Wow.
And that was when I wrote a whole long column about it was so sad to watch. It's over. It's literally 2002. Drake May was born in 2002.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we were surprised.
Well, I got to see his ass, and that's all I really want. I told you before
great.
the night.
Looked
I was
awesome.
like, I just want to see his ass. I don't care who wins the fight, but it bums me out because you were smart. You were the only one in the room who didn't have money on Tyson, and yet the way we broke it down on Against All, I almost called it exactly. I'm like, he'll have like a flurry in the first couple rounds, and then these gloves are too big. And Paul's going to realize that Tyson can't hurt him. And so he's just going to jab him to death. And it wasn't even that much. And I didn't even count on the knee brace. When your fighter goes in there looking like Bill Walton at like 46 years old.
The knee brace is just
oh my God,
automatic. I wish I didn't bet on this guy thing.
So how many years was I off by? I know you wrote that column, but does he beat him at 48? Does he beat him at 30, 44?
I don't know. I had, as we were watching the Chargers game today, I put on ESPN on the smaller TV because I thought SportsCenter was coming on and they were running Mike Tyson's Greatest Hits, Volume 2. And it was just him destroying. The best one is the Donnie Long, I think, is my favorite. He's fucking I think he might have killed Donnie Long.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just over and over. And you just see how fast and crazy good he was back then. And then there's been this revisionist history since, like, oh no, he was both at the moment Douglas hit him, like anyone could have. My answer to that is no. Like him really through the Spinks fight was the most unstoppable heavyweight I've ever seen.
Ferocious. Nobody.
I just don't know how anybody beats that guy. He's a fucking maniac. He's throwing uppercuts. He's ducking. He's round both hands. He had 17 different punches.
Yeah. For sure.
And in the Jake Paul fight, he really only had like this weird, lazy left hook. He never threw his right, never threw uppercuts, and had no legs. It was awful.
Well, in the Jake Paul fight, he had 17 different punches too, but those were over 8 rounds. So in total, he had 17 punches. But I feel like betting on it, like I'm an asshole. Like it's dumb going into it. I knew, but we don't want to admit we're old, right? Like this bet was basically like getting a facelift, right? Like it's a risk, and I know it's going to happen here, and the surgeon got paid either way, but I can't admit that I'm old. And oh, Mike, you just killed us. You just killed it. It was so sad. Couldn't move forward. In the training videos, sad, he has 30-second spurts. Like it's nice, I know, right?
Well, he planted the seed after about he got hurt or whatever happened to him in June, and he had to have blood transfusions and he lost weight. So I feel like they're paving the way for one more.
Oh, one more. Well, we need one less. One more fight? Really?
I don't know. He made like 20 million for this.
I know. He got 20 million. That's
see, like really fight George Foreman. We're not going to all get together if it's like him versus George Foreman or him versus Evander, Holyfield Tyson 3.
Yep. Jimmy Carter could get sanctioned. I think they could do this.
It's all about like it's the walk up. It's the anticipation of it. And then the actual fight is like a bonus.
Yeah. I had buzzed Adam Carolla in my ear saying, he's 58. What do you expect? I think I heard that about 25 times.
Yeah. That seemed to be his go-to point.
He's right.
It was brutal. The women's fight was great though.
That should have been the main event. That was tremendous. I, of course, lost money on that.
The most exciting moment for me though is Baby Doll. Jimmy had like this big fire pit with the fire going. And
Yeah.
Baby Doll sees it and it's just like it's just like a cheetah seeing its prey. He just has to sit next to it and have at least 2 Marlboro Reds in a row while flicking it into the fire and then eventually throwing a cigarette in there. Even though it's not a fire, it's like one of those glass things shoot up. So now there's cigarette butts in there, which I'm sure
you're not supposed
want.
to put trash in there.
Yeah.
It's like, but he makes it like it's a carnival game.
Yeah. But he was had a
Listen,
good time.
I know what I'm doing, baby. I got to get through these 3 packs before I open the other one.
What do you got for Parent Corner?
All right. I got a good one. So on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, my son Jack has a wrestling match, right? And it's a dual meet against another school. So he's on JV. And when you're on JV, like if you're on varsity, you pretty much feel the full lineup and you know the opposing team is going to have probably one guy at every weight class. So it'll match up. But if you're on JV, you never know. Like if the other team only has 5 extras and you have 20, you're not going to get a match. So I have to go and I have to wait, whatever. So we get there. He comes in, he's like, I don't have a match. And my wife is working the concession stand and she's like, oh, well then you should eat then. I'm like, well, don't we want to wait? He's like, no, I don't have a match. So, she's giving him like Costco pizza and like peanut M&Ms. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that's it. We'll stay and watch anyway. 15 minutes later, he comes out. He's like, I have a match. I'm wrestling varsity. The regular varsity kid, he's out with ringworm. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Ringworm, the only thing you can get from wrestling. There's no other way to get ringworm unless you're wrestling with somebody.
Yeah. Guess what? He's also his partner. So he probably has it too. Yeah. But anyway, officially he doesn't have it. Yes, we all have it now. So I have to talk to him now. So I'm like, all right, shit, this is crazy. You're wrestling varsity. So like if you're losing, you're probably going to be losing because you're a 10th grader on varsity, you don't have much experience. You got to save your team points. So if you're losing by 5, don't give up. Don't go to your back. Because if you lose by 10, it costs the team more points than if you lose by 6. So anyway, all right, whatever. So he goes out there and it's a wild first period. It's like 10-8. There's a takedown or reversal every 15 seconds. The gym is pumped. It's sloppy. The other school, probably not their regular varsity kid too. Like maybe their guy had scurvy. I don't know what it is. But anyway, this is a sloppy match. I have no idea. So it's actually 9-8 right before the end of the first period. Yeah. Jack's on bottom and he throws up the Domino's pizza. He throws up
on the mat.
Yes, because he overdid it because he didn't know he was going to have a mat. And then they come out and they clean it and they have to spray it. And it's like a 5-minute, like intermission there. And that's supposed to be it. Like they don't really, they probably figure you're sick, right? And then that you have to like leave the match, right? Not that you had too much Costco pizza. Doesn't get the boom, by the way. And
is there video of him puking or no?
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
It's pretty better than when you puked during House Seats 3 or no?
Nothing. Now the kid's got some ways to go, but but it was interesting nonetheless, but I'll send it to you. He convinces him to let it keep going. And so he goes and he actually escapes to make it 10-8. So now the second period, same thing, back and forth. They're exhausted. Jack's about to get thrown, but like leg trips the kid right onto his back. And the kid's exhausted. He pins the kid and the gym goes bananas. And the team eventually wins by 6 points. So he made a difference. So
wow,
that was it. And it was pretty freaking great. I have to say, it's like, I could lose like a lot of bets and this would make up for it for sure. Oh. I like it. Yeah.
So when they make a movie, it'll be called like Vision Puke.
Yes.
Vomit Quest.
Vision Crust, brought to you by Domino's. God.
That's Parent Corners, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Check out their app. Domino's has a great app.
Yuck.
My Parent Corner, my daughter's boyfriend, Tommy, who's a great kid. She's been dating him for like a year. And he was playing like a touch football game and some kid fell into his leg and he hurt his leg. Like he broke like the top of his tibia. So he was like in a cast for 4 weeks. Ugh. So he ends up moving in because my dad is like 12 minutes from where Zoe goes to school. So he moves in with my dad and my stepmom because it's too hard for him. He's like has an apartment in Austin. It's too hard for him to go back and forth, like
Mhm.
so it's just and then my dad's excited because he is like a live body to watch sports with. So
Right.
Tommy's been there for like a month, hanging with my dad, watching games and stuff, which of course led to I insisted that he mailed me videos whenever my dad fell asleep during sporting events, which was every single night. So so I'll just be home and I'll just get this video from Tom and it's some exciting like fourth quarter of like, Lakers Warriors and then the phone will cut to my dad and my dad's slumped like he's dead next to him. So I'm
Well, it's
really
probably
excited.
1 in the morning, fourth quarter, like, right?
My
Lakers
dad will
Warriors
stay
in
up
the
for
East
all this
Coast.
stuff though.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
and then I'd put all these apps on my dad's TV, including NBA League Pass,
Right.
which of course he has no idea. It's like all you have to do is you press the Apple TV,
Yeah.
the League Pass will come
Scroll.
up, click on that, the games will be there, and it's like too much for him. All he wants to do is turn on the TV and go to cable. And then the
Mhm.
smart TV part has Netflix, and that's all he's capable of. So now Tommy's in there and he's telling me how they're watching NBA games. He's like, yeah, Tommy knows how to get to these NBA games. And I'm like, you mean the NBA games that I put on your TV and was telling you like you
Oh,
could click
no.
on this? And it's like, so he made it seem like Tommy's like Red and Shawshank. Like Tommy's a man who knows how to get things. It's like, you mean Tommy just knows how to press the Apple TV menu? The things comes up and he presses the thing. Why don't they understand how to use remote controls? Like,
I
why
don't
is
know.
this? Do your parents have trouble with this?
The
Like getting
worst.
to,
The worst. My father's fingers are big, so he's breaking the shit out of whether it's a phone or
yeah,
a little Apple remote or something. So it's just not for him. But yeah, it seems like it should click. It's not. They couldn't make it
they
easier.
can't get it. Every time my mom goes to see her mom lives here, and every time she's over, the first 20 minutes are her fixing smart TV or something that happened. I was thinking,
Yeah.
I said to Fennessy, I actually think the Ringer, we might have to launch a podcast where every episode is somebody telling stories about interactions with their parents and technology. If you have parents over 75, and
Mhm.
it's just like, all right, here's my story of when I went over to help fix my mom's internet. And it just goes, my mom couldn't get on Spectrum for like 2 weeks and called the guys, and the guys came like that. She thought there was a serious problem. And all the guy did was just turn the box off and on, and the Spectrum worked.
Right. Right. Right.
Like the
Yeah.
guy was like a house call, came in,
Yeah.
and that was the solution was, have you tried turning the box on and off? My mom was like, what do you mean? And did
Uh,
it, and all of a sudden it worked.
it's
Um,
it scares the shit out of them. I had to
because it
take
makes
my
me think,
old
what are we
man.
going to be like 30 years from now with like AI? Are we going to be just as idiotic?
Oh, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. We could navigate FanDuel. We're good. We're good. But no, these people like my father, I had to take him to DMV, and you have to fill out all the shit on the tablet. You don't write anything. I'm like,
Right.
if I wasn't there, he would be there. There wouldn't be cars. There'd be flying cars by the time he got out of there. He wouldn't be there. Yeah, it's tough. But the bigger point is, you're jealous of Tommy, aren't you?
I am a
You're a
little
little bit
jealous. It
jealous. You
did make
are.
me think of when I lived in Boston. I could just hang out and watch games with my dad, and then he would fall asleep in the fourth quarter or whatever we're watching.
Yeah.
Now Tommy gets it.
With his grandfather-in-law.
But
This is
here's the other
terrific.
thing. Tom is a huge Heat fan because
Oh.
my dad watches every Celtic game if he doesn't go. So
Mhm.
he feels like he has to like, kind of join the Celtics thing a little bit, but he's also a Heat fan. So what he does is he bets on the Celtics every game.
Oh, interesting. All
Yeah.
right.
See, this is why this guy could be the one for my daughter. Like
Well, he's
that's
living
kind
with
of
your
outside the box thinking.
he's living. This is a crazy relation setup here, isn't it?
Well, it's only one more week.
How are you going to
He'll be able to
unravel
start moving
this?
around in a week.
Yeah. All right.
My dad's like, I'm bummed out. We love having him here. I'm like, what's going on?
He's paying for the wedding. That's great.
Uh, anyway, that's parent quarter.
There
Sal,
you
what do you got
go.
to plug?
Well, I just came off the Ringer pregame show where I'm 9 and
You've had a
2 with
long
my
day.
best bets.
Yeah, 9-2 on your best bets.
Come on.
Wow,
Come
you were
on.
plus 108 to be 9-2 with your best bets.
It was an upset. Who knew I could do it? Through the ringer with Tate against all odds. We had a nice same game parlay with the fellas Thursday night, and Cousin Sal's winning weekend with the great Jim Nance on Friday. What should I ask him?
Hello, my friends.
Yeah. Hello, friends.
I think you have to make him rank his top 3 things he's ever called from 3 to 1.
All right.
You got to get the bronze medal, silver medal, gold medal, greatest things he's called.
I have
he has his top 3.
Yeah. I also want the top 3 most annoying things about Tony Romo. I'm going to get it out of him. What he finds
definitely
annoying.
Say like, hey, 3 years ago, were you mad at Romo when he just wasn't memorizing the numbers of the guys in the thing? Did you give him a pep talk?
Right.
Yell at him? What happened?
I love it. It's very exciting.
Those are good guesses.
Yeah. Yeah, we do all right. We
Ringer
have
Sunday pregame show too.
We have a great. Let me shout out Allison Turner, the terrific booker for the Ringer.
Oh, we love Allison.
Great job by her.
She's great. Yeah, I almost don't like that you shouted her out. Now I'm worried somebody's gonna try to hire.
What do you mean?
She's one of our favorite employees. Yeah.
No. Her name
she's
is
actually really bad.
Yeah, she's not good.
Had to yell at her a few times last few weeks.
Yeah, Joe House is the one you want to book your guest.
Ringer Sunday pregame, we came up with this new idea. The what do we call it? The hot fudge Sunday with a Y, where everybody has to do a parlay of plus or a pick of plus 200 or higher, put them all together. And today's was like 42 to 1. How many legs did we hit?
I think we hit 2. No, one or 2. I had the under 31. I feel like we're gonna hit one Tennessee, of those. Minnesota. Yeah.
We're gonna hit one of those.
JJ breaks out in hives because he doesn't like anything over plus 200. He's like, where can I even find this?
He wanted to do it. It has to be plus 110 or higher for this Sunday. All right, Sal, we'll see you next week. Good job by you.
Good job by you, buddy.
That's it for the YouTube feed. Don't forget, you can watch all the clips and videos from this podcast on the Bill Simmons YouTube channel. And also tomorrow, Sal, on the rewatchables, we did the replacements. Me and Van Lathan, a movie that I did not like that much in 2000 and 2001, but now has really grown on me. So we had fun on that. You can watch that on Ringer Movies as well. We also Van and I did a thing that's on Ringer Movies about The Rock and Red One, and why can't The Rock's movie career, like what are we doing wrong here with these? Because it's been 20 years of pretty mediocre movies. So we broke that down as well. So there you go. The Ringer Movies channel. Don't forget about Sal's pods as well. And Sal, I will see you next Sunday. Thanks to Kyle Creighton and Steve Cerruti for producing. As always, see you on Tuesday.